Welcome to Podnutz, episode number 33. This week, Andrew, the computer guy, joins us. Andrew's got a computer repair business in upstate New York, Pottsburg, New York, and his business is doing great. So I wanted to pick his brain and see what he's doing right, and also, see if he can give us some tips, tricks, tech-wise and business-wise, and to help us computer techs ourselves in our own businesses and in our own jobs. So here's the interview with Andrew. Thanks for joining us, Andrew, this week.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No problem. Well, you've listened to several episodes of Podnutz Daily, and we've talked on that, and you left me some messages, and I think we've also had some live conversations on the show, if I can remember. And it seems like from the last message you left me, your computer repair business is doing great. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about what your business is? We'll just start from there, I guess.
All right. I'm a one-man business, as most of the listeners probably are. I started this back. I lived in Columbus, Ohio, temporarily for a couple years, going to school back in '99. I started working at Best Buy before they had the Geek Squad, and that's when I started. I was a technician there, and ever since then, I've just slowly but surely kind of got new customers and started branching out a little bit. I moved back to New York, and it was just I had friends of mine that had fixed their computers, and I really wasn't that great at the time, but I guess for myself, it was good enough for people to be interested in my services. And slowly but surely, over the last 10 years since '99, I've been able to grow up to probably about 850 residential customers. I think since 2002 when I started keeping track, and I've got about 45 businesses. I think unique new customers every year, about 325 if I look at my records. So yeah, it's a pretty busy business.
And you've been doing it for, you said, 10 years?
I've been doing it professionally since 10 years, since '99 back at Best Buy. Okay,
let's back up for a second there now. What was it at Best Buy before the Geek Squad? It was
just their services department.
Okay.
We would just wear black shirts, and we'd fix VCRs and camcorders, do cleanings, and it's back when they were the high end, charging $30 to install a memory stick that'd take about 35 seconds to do. And at that point I was like, man, I could really make some money doing this, especially if I could undercut Best Buy, because the prices were kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, which it still isn't hard to undercut them.
Absolutely.
How was it working there?
It wasn't bad. The problem was, and I was there only about 11 months, and then I left the company because all they wanted to do was push their services. They didn't actually they wanted somebody that was technical, especially like my supervisor in the services department wanted technical people, but the overall store manager just wanted people really for sales. So we were forced to, at that point, MSN had made a big deal with Best Buy, or I should say Microsoft made a big deal with Best Buy, where that's where you could get the computer for free, like the $400 e-machine, you could get it for free if you signed up for 3 years of MSN dial-up. And the managers really forced us to sell that, even though I'm not a person that likes to sell things. I hate it when I go into a store and I get approached by 10 people. Hey, you want to buy this? You want to buy this? What can I do to help you? And if I want help, I'll ask for it. But at that point, it was really, they were just pushing people to sell stuff, and I just wanted to fix things. So
they were majoring in sales, and you wanted to do services.
Yeah, and then we parted company because of that. I wasn't going to be a tool that just went around, doing what everybody told me to do. In that sense, I felt like I was hired as a technician. That was my specialty. I don't want to sell MSN. Plus, I'm not a big salesperson when it comes to, forced and pressured sales.
Right. Well, I'll tell you. I mean, first of all, I think you made the right decision. It seems like it's worked out for you. But sales sometimes just make themselves, like they sell themselves. If you got the right combination of services going on, you don't have to force sell anything. If it's a good service and somebody could see that, they're going to want it. So,
well, yeah, that's the beauty of my business, is that I'm not into pressured sales. If somebody doesn't walk in, of course, it's an appointment-only business because I'm on the road quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I don't force anything. People come to me with a certain need, and then I just fulfill that need for them. I don't go out looking to, you need a new computer. But if they bring in an 8-year-old or, a 12-year-old Compaq or a Packard Bell or something, I'm like, hey, look, you really should get a new computer. So it's nice. People generally don't feel dissatisfied or uncomfortable after a situation where I'm involved, because I provide them a solution for the need that they already have.
Right. I agree. That's a good way to go. So, okay, so you left Best Buy, and then you wanted to go into the business for yourself. How did you start off? What did you do to get new customers originally?
Actually, let me say that right before I left Columbus, I helped my friend of mine's mom, and I was charging $10 an hour because at that point, I really didn't know I knew how to fix certain things, but I certainly wasn't confident in my own abilities. So I just charged $10 an hour, and she said, "Look, Andrew, you need to be charging more. You should charge 30." So when I moved back from Columbus here to New York, and my friends, I was actually just fixing their computers, and I was charging them 30, and they started doing the word of mouth. I really, at that point, had no idea this was going to become a business. I was just enjoying extra money because at that point I was a poor college student, transitioning between schools. And I really didn't have any plans other than just to get a degree and then figure out what I wanted to do, because this area is very dry when it comes to computer repair businesses or the like, because it's very small city. They call it a city, but there's really not a lot of people here. That, right. I don't know how many thousands, but it's certainly not a big metropolitan area.
Right. So are you the only computer guy or one of the only computer guys out there?
I think there's probably 3 or 4 people in the area that advertise, that do what I do, and I get a lot of their business. Apparently some of them have poor business practices. So at this point, I think there's probably only 2 or 3 or 4 of us that actually advertise. Maybe there's a lot, by word of mouth, but right. I don't know of any others other than those 3 or 4 that advertise.
Okay. All right. So you were making like $30 an hour, and then just word of mouth spread, and that's how you started getting a lot of people?
I was working on people's computers while I was going to school. And, actually at that point I was transitioning between schools. Started going to school again. I was working on people's computers, and it was just providing extra income. And what would happen is over the course of the next 2 years, let's say 3 years, from 2003 to 2005, I graduated high school. I'd been hired on at a local chandelier company called Schaumbeck. I think they were just bought out by another company, and they do crystal chandeliers, a very big operation around here.
Okay.
And I was in their IT department, and that was really where a huge growth spurt had happened, because I was able to take on some IT, and I think of Mike from Tech Show when I think of some of the things that I was doing then and things that he was doing. Of course, I wasn't up to that caliber, but just some really excellent opportunities for knowledge. And then at that point, I had so many customers on the side that January 2005, I filed a DBA with the local county clerk here for doing business as, just to have a business.
Right.
And then lo and behold, 5 months later, I was let go from my position at Schaumbeck because the person that I had taken their position because they fought in Iraq, they came back. And they wanted me to sit still just doing some kind of database stuff when I'm used to running around the factory fixing everything. At that point, I had already filed the DBA. I had just 2 weeks prior to that talked to Yellow Book, which at that point was Trans Western Publishing.